Excited about our guest today.
I am very excited. We were just chatting before we got started, and I cannot wait to hear the story because I did not get the story about what actually happened in this person's life. So I am very, very excited to hear from Rika Markel. She is a mindset mentor, transformative coach. She is the founder of Thought Shifter. And I just cannot wait to hear because what we just discussed is she started as a nutritionist doing private practice, and I cannot wait to hear the story. So we're going to dive right in to learn all about you, what happened. Tell us about what's the story.
Well, I'll tell you the story right away. First of all, I want to thank you, Kelly, for having me on your show because I really, really appreciate it. And also, I think I never got the opportunity to tell my story that on that level, like being a dietitian, nutritionist, and leaving that profession in a way, and for good reasons, I think. But nobody even knows that I'm a nutritionist. So I'm so excited that I can share this now with the world. And that I had that opportunity. So thank you for that. So what happened was I had a teacher when I was in 11th and 12th grade, and she was a dietitian, but she taught us biology. And so I was very inspired by her. She was an amazing young teacher with a lot of enthusiasm. And I was so in awe of how she conducted herself in the world and how she was speaking and how fun-loving she was. So I wanted to be that way. And I wanted to become a nutritionist. And so there was only one school in Belgium. So I'm from Belgium, by the way. I studied there. And so there was only one school in Belgium, and I had to go live there, which in Belgium, here in the United States, everybody goes to college and we're gone. In Belgium, it's a little bit different. So for my family, it was a big, big step that I was going to go and study. So what I did, and my dad encouraged me to really, because it was hard for me to leave my family. Long story short, become a nutritionist, and I start my own practice, and I wanted to help people lose weight. And I was so enthusiastic. And I had in the 80s in Belgium, being a dietitian was very new. There were not so many. So it was something that like started to become more like people started to understand they needed to do something with their nutrition. And if they wanted to lose weight, they had to start going on a diet. Nobody really knew about that back then. So I start my own practice and people started coming in and it was amazing. And I helped them losing weight. And some people like 20 kilos in kilos, not in pounds. In
Yeah.
Belgium, it's all kilos, 20 kilos, 30 kilos, doesn't matter. After 2 years, all those same people, they came back. They were back to where they were. They
Mm.
gained the weight again. And I started again. I'm like, oh my God, let's do it again. We can do this. You can do this. We went all the way and they lost the weight. Another 2 years later, there they were again. And I lost my mind. I was like, what is going on here? I understand the science of if you eat less calories than what you need, then you are going to lose weight. That is the science. I'm a scientist. I know that this is working. So why can't people do that? And so my dad, I remember his words in my ear, says, you have to be so happy that they all come back. It means they like you, they need you, they want you, they all come back to you. You should be so proud. And I'm like, Dad, I can't do this. I'm not gonna do this for the rest of my life. Helping people to like yo-yo in that up and down. And so then I started a corporate career and I became like a manager in healthcare, doesn't matter. But looking back, and that's what Steve Jobs says, like you can only connect the dots when looking back. Now I understand what was going on with these people. It wasn't about their diet, but it was about their mindset. And so now being a mindset coach, I have also a program, like a little program, a 5-day thing that I help women understand that it is not about the food they eat. We all know what we have to eat. We're not in the 80s anymore. We all understand what healthy food is. We all understand that we cannot eat ice cream every day and lose weight. It's not going to happen. But what we don't know, or what most people don't know, is that if you have your body and your mind set, let's say, to be 180 pounds, you need to change your self-image in order to be on your correct weight or the weight that you think you want to have. So that's my story. And I'm very excited that now, if I have like, I'm not teaching people. I, I have some coaching clients that want to lose weight, but we never talk about food. We never talk about the diet. We all talk about who do I have to be so that I can live a life as somebody who's 140 pounds or 150 pounds. So that's it. That's the story.
Well, it's so interesting because I am similar to you. I started my career in bariatrics, and I when I first started, there wasn't a lot of talk about therapy or how, any of it around. And what we found out was a lot of people had been abused or neglected, or there's different reasons of why they were eating that was definitely on the mind side, like definitely on the therapy side. And they hadn't really made that connection. They changed the way that they did things. They created like centers of care later on where there was, therapy both with the psychiatrist and with the dietitian, and because it really was a mindset, right? There was a lot of things that were leading to people eating in a way that was leading to obesity. But it's really interesting that you experience that because there is a lot tied into the emotional side of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And again, like it is what when I started reading books like the book from Maxwell Maltz, like where he explains that you can never ever outperform the vision that you have of yourself. Like if you feel yourself like your whole life you were overweight, that's your paradigm. That's who you think you are, that overweight person. That's what you have in your subconscious mind. Your subconscious thoughts are so powerful. So the minute, and there's multiple factors that are playing here, but the minute you lose weight, your self-image is going to say, oh, something's off here. Let's just fuel up again. We need to be at the same level that we were before. And another thing that happens is that your mind wants to keep you safe. That is one of the rules of the mind. But safe doesn't mean healthy. No, but we think in like the mind think safe is healthy. No, 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 no. Safe doesn't mean healthy. Safe means what's familiar.
Right.
So if you're familiar with like an overweight body, that's what your mind is going to bring you to because that gives that comfort, that gives that nice feeling, so your mind doesn't care about you're healthy or not healthy. Your mind cares about what are we used to. That's it.
And that
Right.
can work in all aspects of your life, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not nothing different with, of course, it's the same thing. You need to start, you will have to go on a diet. You will have to eat less. There's no way that you can just keep going what you're doing. But where you want to go is that you get to that consciousness where you don't want the pastry anymore, but where your body craves for the apple instead of the pastry, so that you don't have to suppress yourself all the time and have to be so strong and say no to everything. You want to get to the point where you don't even want the pastry anymore.
Right.
That's where I want my clients to be, that they don't have that desire anymore, that it is gone.
You know what, Kelly, I think that things have changed so much as a dietitian. You talk about the education, what makes you so successful as owning Kelly's Choice is the fact that you really teach education. A lot of times you go and visit somebody once or twice a month or 3 times, 4 times a month. If you're not providing that education piece that I think dietitians have changed so much more, focusing on the education side, that you're not going to see the progress and success of your patients.
Yeah, I think the education, but I mean, I always have to teach the dietitians to be relatable. I think what you're doing is really getting to know that person. And again, I think it's diving in deeper And I always tell them, yes, we have this education platform, but if the person wants to tell you that they just had a really bad day today, that's more important, because that bad day is, like you just said, going to go into their brain. They're going to probably make not so great choices because of what just happened. So it's better to talk that out and to see what's going on in their life than to get through the lesson on carbohydrates, right? So I think that we're coming along a much longer way than we ever have before. And like you said, the 80s. Like I remember my mom doing every single diet, the grapefruit diet, the fasting diet, and I think there was so much about restriction versus we now are trying to do like, what do you add in? So you do want to grab that apple, right? Like, what do you add in versus that? I think we went through like a few decades of just pure restriction.
That's true. And we know now it doesn't work.
Doesn't work.
And that's also one of the things that's one of my messages. If something is not working, why on earth why do you keep doing it? If it doesn't work, you did it a lot of times. And I applaud so many people that are going on all those diets and they really do it. They really lose the weight. It really I feel like we don't give these people enough credit. I am very lucky. I never had to go on a diet. I was never overweight, not even when I was pregnant. And so I lost the weight right away. I was very, very fortunate. And so, but let's say there was a day that I needed I'm gonna say it like because it's really what is on my mind right now. When you have to go for a colonoscopy and you cannot eat the day before the things that you
Yeah.
really want to eat,
Yep.
and I don't like it. I become grumpy. And
Yep.
I'm thinking all the time, oh my God, can you imagine if I would have to do that all the time? And again, then I think about all those people that are really doing it, and I applaud them. I think they're they have a lot of determination. They really do a great job. And I feel for them that they sometimes they get like the stamp that they can't do it, that they don't have self-discipline. And I heard it all the time. Yeah, my family thinks I don't have the discipline to do that. I'm like, well, ask them to do it. Like not to take the ice cream for 6 weeks, let's say, it's tough. It's
So
tough. You
how
have to be a little gentle to yourself.
I have to ask you, how do you feel about the whole GLP-1 weight loss medication movement?
Well, that's a very, very interesting question. I re and I have very mixed feelings about it because I know some people close to me that are that went through that whole process and they have incredible results.
Mhm.
Okay. And then I have others that don't have those results. So it's like both sides of the story. And I'm the kind of person who I don't take any medication. I don't want to deal with it, but it's the same thing. I think that people have to do what they think is good for them because that is what's going to change your self-image. If you really truly believe that that process is going to help you, I believe that that alone is going to be the biggest success. Like if you go in this process and say, okay, this is it for me, this is going to help. Because what I also see, the people that have the results, they did change their habits. And not on the food level, but because of the fact that they started losing weight quickly, they went for walks, they went back to the gym, they changed their
Your
ways.
mindset,
Because
right?
of- Yes. So they
Yeah.
changed their ways. And those people I see having the results. So who am I to say then that it wouldn't be good? You know, that's not how my mind works. I feel like if that is a winning thing, why not?
I feel
Why?
this exact same way. I always say that's between you and yourself and you and your doctor. And I like you, I've seen friends that have really had success with it that had a really hard time and were really struggling. And one of them in particular said to me the other day, like, I feel like myself again.
Yeah.
And I feel like I can do more.
Yeah.
She just got a job promotion. Like, it really changed her mindset and like how she thinks about her. It really did. Now it'll be interesting to see as she weans off if that weight will come right back. Um, but it's just I don't know. I people ask me all the time, so I was wondering, I'm curious about that.
No,
But
and I also think you touched on something very important. What is going to happen if they get off? Like, what is going to happen? And I think the people that really changed their mindset, really changed their ways, really became that body that they now live in the body that is in their mind, their body still, and they recognize, I think we're going to have to help them to really own that slim body without judgment, without like without any restrictions that are with it. I think that is those people that can own their weight loss. Those are the people I think that will stay at, because it's not about the process how you get there. It's like what are you gonna do when you're there? It's
Totally.
Mhm.
because if you change your ways again if you're gonna become that person, it is the same thing as people that win the lottery. Okay. So all of a sudden, you have those millions of dollars. If you don't become the person that's a millionaire, you're gonna lose it all. And we have so many, we see it all the time. People
Yeah.
that win the lottery, 2 years later, they're even more in debt than before. Why? Because they didn't become that millionaire. That, they didn't own it. So
Right.
that is the same when you lose the weight. Same thing.
And I think the thing is that you need the mind to do something difficult.
Yeah.
If you don't, and your mind do not believe you can do it, you'll never do it. It's the bottom line. Kelly, again, you're into athletics too, right? And you know high performing athletes have the right mindset, right, Kelly?
Well, my daughter is training for a half Ironman right now, and it's like I said,
Wow.
really, really hot today. It's 90 degrees. And so she called me. She's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Why? I'm working." She's like, "I got overzealous. I tried to bike around the lake, and now I need a ride home." And I'm like, "I can't." So she just texted. She was like, "I got home. I did it." She got in her mindset, and she got it done. She had to get home. But it's tough, as an athlete, as someone who's trying to eat healthy, live life. There's a lot of obstacles that can be in the way, but your mind is a very powerful thing. And I think what you're doing is fantastic. And I do think that your degree in nutrition, I'm sure, plays into a lot of what you do without having to be like super dietitian-y. But it really, I'm sure, plays in because food affects your mind, right? I mean, it's a direct correlation, just knowing the physiology of how all of our body works. But I think you having that core of nutrition probably helps your clients a lot.
Yeah, and also knowing that one of the things that people do when they are not in a good spot is eat because it gives you that adrenaline, like right there and then. It gives you like those hormones that make you feel good. So that has nothing to do with the food. Some people will scroll on their phone, some people will go on a shopping spree, other people eat. That has nothing to do with like being obese, not obese, overweight, that has nothing to do with it. But if you are the person, like I am an emotional eater for sure. But I'm so lucky that I see this is my body. I will not go over, I bounce in between 6, 7 pounds and it's like go up, go down, go up. I don't have to do anything for that because this is who I am.
Mhm.
I can eat as much as I want. It's not going to go up because that's not who I am. But if you have a tendency to be overweight and you have also the tendency to eat when you don't feel good, you are working with two
Right,
difficult things.
right.
So food is very important here. Not to the point that we think about it, but it has a different like if that's also one of those things that they don't teach you when you become a dietitian. It's all about that food. I don't know if they teach you now, because it's like, I don't even want to talk about any
I've
age.
been out a long
Like,
time
oh my God,
myself.
I'm a dinosaur. Like, I don't even, it's horrible in a way, but I'm thinking in the 80s. Wow. So I don't know what they do today, but what I do know is that we didn't learn any of it. It was just food,
Right.
and there is a whole body that is involved. So there's way more. There's also
Yeah.
the movement and the mindset and there's so much that goes into it.
I agree. I agree. I think you were ahead of your time for sure. And now people are just catching up. So you are a trendsetter.
I was a trendsetter. Oh my God, I own it now.
Yeah,
Yes.
you were a trendsetter. I mean, look on the um, internet. Like there's people trying to do exactly, but you have the background, which is really incredible to be able to be successful. So I'm glad that you took the time to come on today, and it's neat to have other colleagues that have gone into different roles and what you're doing, but it's all helping.
But I think what we
Thank
discussed
you.
in this team today, Kelly, is basically how important food is for the mind. And without the proper nutrition, you're not going to have the proper mind set to do things. So it
It
goes
goes
back,
back and forth.
goes
Back and
back and
forth.
forth, either or.
So
And it goes
important.
back also the power of education. If your dietitians, Kelly, are not able to explain to the patients why they should have certain foods and explain that in a way, the other person's not going to feel confident enough to try to implement that and do it.
Yeah.
So it,
Oh no, that's true too, for
it,
sure.
it
I agree
fits,
with
they
you.
both fit together in that conversation. Rika, where's the best place people can check you out and stuff? Worth it.
Well, always on my website, rikamarkel.com.
Right. Well, fantastic. And go to kellyschoice.org or pick up your book, Kelly, right?
Yeah, we have a book, and it talks about this. It's the new weight loss era. And so this is actually perfect timing. It talks all about this, and you can find it right on Amazon. So,
Wonderful.
yeah, so I appreciate you. Hopefully, maybe someday we will be able to meet each other in person. We're not that far away from each other.
That's true.
And
I'm coming your way, by the way. With the whole family, we're going to, I don't know exactly where you are, but we are going to travel to the Niagara Falls over the next
oh,
weeks.
you're gonna come right by me. You actually have to go right by.
Voila,
Yeah. So
make it happen.
yes, it really can. You have to go right by my town to get there.
Wonderful.
All right. Thanks again, Rika.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.